Hey there friends and enemies, Joper here again, and I am so excited to finally start getting my hands on Wayfinder, but unfortunately the closed beta is still under NDA. We can't show any gameplay, talk about any gameplay. There's nothing going on there that is playable as far as my YouTube channel goes. However, I can react to what they're putting out through other channels like IGN, so I'm going to go over this with you guys, give my thoughts on what we're seeing and why I am so thrilled that Wayfinder is coming out, because it really does feel like a throwback.
Wayfinder does not intend to be a brainless loot grind or a dispiriting digital roulette wheel. Digital Extremes, the studio behind Warframe publishing this new fantasy RPG, is aware of all the pitfalls that tend to sink modern multiplayer games. How, more often than not, it feels like the designers are
So Digital Extremes has built up a game from a smaller starting point in Warframe, and so they know how to generate a game like this and make it long lasting. They know how to stick with it, evolve it over time. That's what I'm excited about. I also know that the characters are going to be different in this compared to what they were in Warframe, but in this one the characters actually are a major part of why this is so exciting, because each character feels unique, and I feel like that's going to make this game feel separate from a lot of the other MMOs and stuff on the market right now.
Actively trying to take advantage of its players. But after a few hours with the game and a gaggle of rollicking dungeon crawls and hub zone idle time, it's clear that Wayfinder is trying to harken back to a more wholesome age of cooperative monster slaying. If you too grew up on World of Warcraft, Guild Wars, and Final Fantasy XI, Digital Extremes intends to bring you home.
Yes, I'm very excited about that.
In its most simple definition, Wayfinder is an MMO. Players take control of a slew of heroes known as, you guessed it, Wayfinders, which are subdivided into classic tank, healer, and DPS roles. These characters come pre-equipped with names, backstories, and a League of Legends-style tray of 3 abilities and an ultimate, which means you aren't going to be nurturing a mute, enigmatic player character towards the level cap. The combat itself is steeped in that quasi-RPG magic that defines Destiny, Borderlands, and yes, Warframe. Expect a lot of white damage numbers to come flying out of your opponents, but you'll also be asked to aim your weapons, time your parries, and dodge roll out of attacks. You'll be outfitting your roster of characters with a huge interlocking talent tree, which will juice the integers of whatever build you're currently targeting. In that sense, Wayfinder is well within the...
So one of the things I was worried about when I first looked at this game is how, because it's character based, how the builds were going to work, if they were going to be viable and have like every character that every time you're playing a character, it feels like you can make your own build that feels like it's going to fit your play style. So that's really good to hear. It's something that I think is hard to do, right? Make a game not too complicated, but intricate enough that like one build is going to not play like every other build in the game, and everyone's who's playing this one specific character feels like they're playing the exact same way all the time. That's something that some games will fall into, and it's a real bummer for me as somebody who likes to experiment and play in a variety of ways.
Thrall of some of the most popular video games on the planet, but in the couple hours I've spent on the live servers, I haven't grown bored by that familiarity. A lot of the appeal can be chalked up to Wayfinder's character design. The studio behind the game, Airship Syndicate, most recently worked on Ruined King, the League of Legends-based RPG, and you can see the influence of Runeterra's gorgeous cartooning bleeding through. I spent most of my time with Senja, a yoked gladiator donning a spiky blonde haircut and a heavy Kratos-sized axe. She served as the tank for most of our expeditions and is buoyed by a mechanic where her abilities increase in potency as an unseen audience is whipped up into a frenzy. Senja showboats, flexes, and gestures to the cheap seats before she lines up another blow. When it connects, the crowd goes wild. It's hard to step behind Senja's controls without immediately adoring her vibe. This is what Wayfinder will undoubtedly hang its hat on. Like Warframe, progression here seems to be mostly built around unlocking new characters, and from the ones I played, they all immediately glimmer with charisma and potential just like Senja. Another Wayfinder I played, known as Nis the Shadow Dancer, is outfitted with a cocktail of shinobi-esque mobility options that make quick work of her enemies. You'll be taking this crew into the Overlands, a shared adventuring space for all players, like Blizzard's Elwynn Forest or Bungie's Europa, as well as Lost Zones, Wayfinder's parlance for randomized dungeons, where you will carve through the modulated corridors in search of treasure and glory. Airship has made it clear that players will be given a ton of control over the loot that pops up in these dungeons to avoid the soul-killing grind of repeating the same instance indefinitely while searching for a furtive 1% drop. The studio has learned.
Real quick on that, this game looks like it's going to be the perfect balance for me personally between this and then Diablo 4, right? Diablo 4 is going to be very grindy, have a lot going on there as far as like things to chase, darker feel, all that kind of stuff, where a more intricate class creation and customization. This one is going to be my more, not casual because it's still an MMO, but the more lighthearted, fun one. And so that's really going to be the combination of the two. And it has me very excited because having both of those that I can juggle is going to fill both niches that I'm looking to cover. So that has me excited.
Learned from the mistakes of its forebears. Everyone involved with Wayfinder kept hammering one point home over and over again, that this game, at its core, is an MMO. If Airship's dreams come true, they'll have created a lively realm of bustling general chats, breezy dance contests, and the tragedies and triumphs of tough, mechanically rich boss fights.
Yeah, that's perfect.
By the end of my demo, it became clear that the people who made this game miss the golden age of the genre and are desperate to recreate the conviviality of sharing a dungeon with a party of friends.
Yeah,
From everything I've seen so far, Wayfinder looks to be up to the task.
Love it.
For more on the biggest upcoming action RPGs, check out our hands-on preview of Diablo 4, and for everything else in the world.
Yeah, so ultimately, this has me very excited. I know this is just a brief preview and not a deeper dive, but this is kind of what I'm looking for with this game personally, and that has me really, really stoked to see more, because I feel like as a game, this is one that is going to be very interesting. A big part of how much this game catches on will be the fact, will determine how long, the longevity of it, and that's how many people are playing. Are people playing with their friends consistently? Are the servers packed? Are you jumping into a social space and there's a bunch of people everywhere? All of that is necessary for it to feel like a lively MMO, and I think that'll determine the fate of this game. But I just can't wait to get more. I'm looking forward to getting hands-on, creating a ton of content on this game, so definitely stay tuned for that. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more Wayfinder content going forward from me. I'd love for you guys to sub to the channel. Help me out tremendously. My name is Jopa. I hope you have a good one, and I'll catch you all later.